don't believe this. I'm telling you, Jody came home in a state of panic. She says this trained bear of yours tried to maul her.
Nothing like that happened, Doctor. You've got my word.
Well, maybe it happened before you came downstairs.
No, I was here when Gunther admitted her, and I didn't hear what he said, but I know nothing physical happened.
Yeah, you see, Doc, your sister-in-law just misinterpreted things. Young girls are like that. But I was just joking around, just kidding. No harm in that, is there?
There may be plenty of harm in it for you, Gunther. You can consider that a warning.
Nancy, I don't use my father's name for a reason. That doesn't mean I've forgotten it. Just as I can't forget another name.
What name is that?
Jefferson Brown. Now, I'm sure you haven't heard of him. His name was never in the press. Except on one possible occasion.
Well, it does sound familiar, but I can't quite... Mike, hi, darling.
Hi, honey. This is a nice surprise.
Well, it's good to see you, Mike.
How are you, Damian?
I'm afraid I'm intruding on a private party.
No, not at all.
No. I've been wanting to talk to you for some time, Damian.
Well, I have been talking to Nancy. In fact, I've already told her more than I've told anybody else in this town.
Yes, Nancy does have that effect on people.
I was just telling her about a man named Jefferson Brown. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I don't think so.
Well, he worked for my father. You might say he was his trusted assistant. Unfortunately, he was totally unworthy of trust. No, I don't really know Jefferson Brown. I met him in my father's office a couple of times. On the surface, he seemed like an honest, straightforward fellow, but no, there was something in his eyes, a hungry look. No, it's difficult to explain.
How long did he work for your father?
I don't think it was even a year. He seemed like a bright enough guy. He got through college on scholarships. He had a military record. Actually, his history is very difficult to trace.
You sound as though you tried.
Yes, I did.
Here's your vodka tonic, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What was so important about this man, Brown? Did he have something to do with what happened to your father?
I think he had everything to do with it.
Damian was just telling me about his father's suicide, about the allegations against him.
There's no secret about it. I'm sure you've heard the story.
Just part of it. Something about missing documents.
Yeah, just several pieces of paper. That's all. They were enough to destroy my father's life and change my own life. Oh, don't misunderstand me. They were very important papers. They were contingency documents. I'm sure you know what that means.
Yes, defense strategies that could be put into use if they had to. But I'm sure there must be hundreds of documents like that.
That's true. And these no more or less important than any others, but they disappeared. And the finger of blame pointed at my father. Of course, he was innocent. I know it's natural for a son to defend his father, but my father and I were very close. We always felt totally free to confide in one another.
Even so, Damian, sometimes there are areas in a person's life where no one is included, not even a close relative.
I understand that. I realize that I start from a very deep personal bias. But I have another starting point also. Jefferson Brown.
Are you implying that he was the thief?
I'm absolutely convinced that he stole those documents.
But what was his motive? What, was he a spy?
No, I don't think he was a foreign agent or anything like that. In fact, this was not a political situation. I don't think Jefferson Brown ever had a political conviction in his life. He had one primary concern: money.
And of course, these documents were marketable.
Well, he was greedy enough to think so, but as it turned out, he was wrong. I don't think he got a dime off of them. He just managed to destroy the man who trusted him.
Damian, how sure are you of your allegations?
Well, I do not have any solid evidence, if that's what you mean. If I did, I would have cleared my father's name a long time ago.
But if your father was innocent...
Mike, my father was in very bad shape when this happened. My mother had died several years before, and he never really got over it. And then when the documents disappeared, well, I'm sure that he felt a very strong sense of guilt, even though he didn't take them. I mean, it was his department, it was his responsibility. And then when he realized that they suspected him, I think it was just too much for him.
Had you, mentioned any of this before now, your theory?
By the time I realized the truth, Nancy, it was too late. After my father's suicide, Jefferson Brown left the country. He went to Switzerland. I later realized that there had to be a connection. He obviously left the country to try to sell those documents.
But you said he didn't succeed.
Well, no, I don't see how he could have. I mean, the State Department changed the contingency plan almost immediately. I'm sure that every major foreign power was aware of that. Those documents were worthless.
So, that left Jefferson Brown in Switzerland.
Yes. And he did something unforgivable there.
What was that?
He died.
Really nice, Mr. Whitney. No kidding. I really appreciate the way you handled that. Because it's the truth, you know. I did not manhandle that little girl. I do not fool with children. No, I was just having a little fun, that's all. We're all entitled to a little fun now and then, are we? Hmm? You know, I was just thinking of the good old days when Miss Martine was living with us.
Stop drinking, Gunther. Your nostalgia is making me sick.
Well, we had fun in those days, Mr. Whitney. And even though Miss Martine was right there, still it didn't stop you from having your fun, did it? Tell me something. Is it going to be the same with you and Mrs. Whitney?
I think I'm going to bed.
And I think you're going to sit right there. Well, come on, you can tell me. Hmm? You're not a one-woman man any more than I am. Hey, wait a minute. Is that the reason for all this? Is that the reason you decided to get rid of your blushing bride because you knew it couldn't be the same with her? Hmm? Yeah, I bet that's it. Yeah, I think you suddenly realized what a big mistake you had made, and you found out that it's not so easy to get rid of a wife legally without paying out a lot of money. Well, same thing happened to me, you know. That rotten first wife of mine, she took me for a bundle. Well, is that the way it was? Oh, come on, you can tell me. You're my pal now.
If you think you can blackmail me into being your drinking buddy, you're nuts.
Well, I was just kidding. Well, well, more company, huh? Unless, of course, Mrs. Whitney forgot her keys. I tell you, that lady has got to be more careful with her keys. Well, well.
Gunther, I'm here to see Mr. Whitney.
Has Doc Kavanaugh been talking to you?
Not recently. Why? Should he have?
No. Yeah, Mr. Whitney's here. Police Chief Mallory to see you, sir.
Hello, Chief.
I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Whitney. It's about the Slade case, of course.
Well, what more can I do? I've filled out the affidavit. I've done everything you asked.
Well, no, I've read your statement and Mrs. Whitney's statement. Mrs. Whitney home right now?
No, she's out visiting friends.
Well, I promise you I won't take up much of your time. You see, I'm just bothered by some of the facts that we've been developing in terms of this break-in last night.
No, he didn't break in. I checked all the doors. There's no damage.
Gunther, we know he got in with his own pass key, and we know how he got the key, but we still refer to it as a break-in.
Well, you know, there is one good thing. He's not going to be breaking in anywhere else. And he's sure not going to be breaking into heaven.
Mr. Whitney, can we discuss this alone, please?
Yes, Gunther, why don't you go clean some silver or something?
Yes, sir. That's a good idea, Mr. Whitney. I'll just clean some silver. Hey, maybe I'll just polish your little boots for you, huh? Get right on that.
Hey. How are you? What are you doing here? What about the 11 o'clock news, aren't you?
Charlie Wainwright volunteered, thank heavens. Oh, it's so good to be home early for a change. Where's Jody? Is she here?
Yeah, she's upstairs. She's probably in bed.
Oh, she went to bed early, didn't she?
Yeah, at my suggestion.
Why, is she all right?
No, she's not feeling too well at the moment. Can hardly blame her. She had another run-in with Gunther tonight.
Oh, Miles, no.
Yes. This time she was assaulted in the Whitney home. Confusion about what happened tonight. It's not that I don't believe Jody's story. It's just that it could be that she overreacted a little bit.
Why? What did she say happened?
Well, she said that she went to the Whitney house right after she left the TV studio.
Oh, that's right. She told me she was going there. You know, we never did have that scheduled interview because she decided it wouldn't be a good idea since she decided not to be the star of the dance
I know
company.
that's what she was going to tell Sky Whitney, but when she got there, he was not available. He was taking a nap or something. So Gunther thought he would take advantage of the fact that they were alone together.
Miles, this has just gone too far now. I refuse to have that man terrorize
So
my
how
sister.
do you think I feel about it?
That doesn't mean you have to do anything. Oh, Miles, you did do something.
Yes, I strapped on my 6-shooters and went right over there.
Did you go over there?
Yes, I did.
Well, thank heavens you're home in one piece.
I'm home in one piece. I'm just a little confused about something. I saw Mr. Whitney, and he said that nothing happened.
What?
He saw Gunther let Jody in, and that Gunther maybe passed a few unpleasant remarks to her, but there was no assault, nothing.
Oh, I don't understand. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe it at all. I think he's probably covering up for Gunther. He probably wants to avoid the bad publicity, but he's going to get something, whether he likes it or not.
Why? What are you going to do?
I'm going to ask Jody to file a formal complaint.
Oh, no, Miles, she won't do that. Now, Whitney is her employer.
Not anymore. Now she's going to quit the company.
Well, what if she refuses? Then
She
what?
won't refuse.
Well,
She
what
can't
if she does? That doesn't mean that you're going to do anything, does it?
We'll see.
Oh, Miles, you mustn't. Really, now, that man is dangerous. It's just, you can't deal with somebody like that without the support of the law. Please, Miles, I don't want anything to happen to you or to Jody.
Hey, Mac, how's it going today? Hey, Louise, how about 2 chili dogs and some coffee in the booth, okay?
Fun chewing bean 'em.
I know you won't admit that you were kind in that hearing. It probably offends the macho image you have of yourself.
And what makes you think I've got a macho image of myself?
Are you kidding? Every cop does. They couldn't be cops if they didn't.
I see. And what image do lawyers have of themselves?
Very wise. Very fair. Protectors of the weak and innocent. Also very rich.
There's the word, rich.
Of course I want to have money. I just don't think I ever will, that's all. So I'll settle for what I can get.
Oh, and what might that be?
Satisfaction in my job. Chili dogs. Love.
Oh, and how are you progressing with the list so far?
I'm enjoying my work. And I have my chili dog.
And the latter?
I'm still waiting on the rest.
Oh, you mean there's no someone special somewhere?
Nope. There was someone special once, but I left him behind in law school. Actually, he dropped out in his 3rd year and went to work for an uncle in the insurance business. And right about now, he's making about 5 times my income.
Oh, that much, huh?
Okay, 5 times my income is not very much.
Right, and in that case, I think I'd better pay for the food.
Oh, no, definitely. This is on me. I have to thank you some way.
Jeannie, I didn't do anything.
But you did. You were fair, and that means a lot to me.
Look, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you really have to do something about this compassion trip you're on. It's only going to cause you trouble in the long run, believe me.
I know you're right. My brother has something to do with that, probably.
Yeah, what about your brother?
He's in prison.
You kidding?
My brother used to belong to a gang, and about 2 years ago, they robbed an airport depot. A guard was killed. My brother was just acting as a lookout. He didn't have anything to do with the shooting, but he was sentenced to 20 years.
Ouch. How old is he?
He was 19 at the time.
Must have been quite a blow to your family.
It almost killed my mother. I love my brother, and I know he wouldn't do anything bad. I know he's not really bad, but I'm afraid of what he might be like once he gets out on parole.
Any, other members of your family?
My father. He's in a veterans hospital in Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about this. I mean, it sounds like you have had your share of bad breaks.
Hey, Calvin, you'd better watch this compassion stuff.
Okay. In that case, I'll just have another chili dog, please.
Well, that Slade might have benefited through some inside information, maybe through one of your workmen. Could have provided him with a tip to the layout. Or maybe some of the hired help during the wedding.
No, I don't think so, Chief. If you ask me, it's just a question of Slade reading the stories in the newspaper and deciding that we were ripe for the picking.
That's certainly a possibility. How about your man Gunther? Do you have complete confidence in him?
Oh, yes. Complete confidence.
Well, I guess then that's about it. No. One more thing. The items that Slade packed together that he was going to take with him. Have you had a chance to look through these yet?
Well, they're all put away by now.
Oh. Well, did you notice that anything was indeed missing?
Well, it's tough to say, you know. I mean, I did not have a complete inventory of everything that was in the house, what with the wedding presents and all, but as far as I can tell, everything is there.
Excuse me, Mr. Whitney. It looks like Chrissy polished all the silver and I couldn't find your boots. Anything else you want me to do?
No, Gunther, why don't you just relax for the rest of the evening?
Very good, sir.
I think I'll be on my way. Thank you very much, Mr. Whitney.
Oh, allow me, Chief.
Good night.
Good night, Chief.
Good night, Chief.
Good night.
You know, I just heard about the stuff that Romeo was supposed to take. Oh, come on now. You didn't tell him to rob the house, did you, Mr. Whitney?
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, well, one of the most valuable items that was in the house wasn't here when Slade busted in. That pretty little watch you got. The one Mrs. Whitney gave you.
So what?
Well, I sure admire that watch. May I see it for a minute?
No.
Oh, please, just for a minute. Oh, I sure admire this watch. It has my initials, you know. GSW. Well, they're not in the right order, but that doesn't matter. You know, I would be eternally grateful if someone would give me this watch. How about it?
You're mad. Give me that watch.
Nah, I think you should give it to me as a token of your esteem for my loyalty. Okay? And this is just the beginning. And I sure hope you understand that.
Oh, yes, Gunther, you are so right. This is only the beginning.
Fascinates me. But I know why. Why? Well, I would say it's one of the few places in town where you can look down your nose at everyone in Monticello at the same time. Hey, I'm no snob. I'm just rich, like you. Me, I don't feel rich. Well, that's because you don't use your money to its best advantage. You never go shopping for expensive things. You don't travel. I think my husband is traveling enough for the two of us. Thanks. speaking of traveling, I think perhaps I'd better go. I overheard your phone conversations earlier, and I gather that Nicole and Miles are coming.
Well, yeah, they are, but you don't have to rush off.
Oh, no, I have things to do. My goal for the day is to transfer 6 dresses from the designer shop at Bennett's into my closet. So I better get started.
Well, have fun.
You, don't seem your perky self. Is something wrong?
Well, it might have something to do with the letter I got from Draper.
Did it start out, Dear Jane?
Oh, Raven, I hate to disappoint you, no. It's just a change of plans, but he won't be back in Monticello for that week as he had hoped.
It must have been something very heavy involving the investigation that he didn't come home.
Oh, I don't know, something about, some man who they tentatively identified as a deposed South American dictator who happens also to be one of Bryson's patients. Obviously, he didn't like the publicity and jumped town on it.
I heard about that.
Yeah, well, in any case, Draper's too busy now to come back.
Well, did they identify any of Dr. Bryson's other clients?
Sure, his legitimate patients.
Well, I think you should tell Draper to come right back here where he belongs with his wife and growing family.
Oh, that's easier said than done. He does not like to admit defeat. For heaven's sake, who does? I certainly don't want to add any pressure on him by making him feel guilty about quitting.
Well, what's so important about this investigation anyway?
I don't know. It's important to Draper, it's important to the police, and I can think of, well, at least one other person who'd like to know a little bit more about Bryson's patients. Valerie Bryson herself.
And why is she so curious?
Well, it may sound silly, but she fell in love with one of Bryson's patients, a man who was having facial reconstruction, so the whole time that she spent with him, she never even saw what he looked like. I don't know, I think that's kind of romantic.
I think it's morbid.
Well, the story moved me. The guy was a soldier in Vietnam, that's where he got hurt. I even remember his name. Lieutenant Diedrichson.
When I think about what must have been going through Jody's mind when Gunther attacked her again like that, I'm just praying that the incident doesn't leave any kind of lasting scar.
Let's just be glad that our lover boy was interrupted before anything could really happen. Anyway, don't worry about it. When I get through with this clown, he is going to regret having ever even looked at your sister-in-law.
Derek, it's going to be impossible to get an indictment.
Why do you say that?
Because when I went to the Whitney mansion, Gunther denied making any kind of a move on Jody.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
The point is that Sky Whitney backed him up. Said that nothing unusual happened. Gunther may have made a nasty remark or two, but that Jody overreacted.
First thing we got to do is get Jody down here tomorrow morning. Have her make out a formal complaint against Gunther. I can't do a thing until I get...
She won't do it, Derek.
Why?
She says she feels like she's already been through the ringer and she doesn't want to make any more fuss over it.
Well, if she won't make a complaint, then her only recourse is just to stay out of his way.
That's twice now. She's come home half scared to death by that creep. And, you know, considering how reluctant she is to talk about, there may be other times we don't even know about.
Come in.
Hello, Chief. Doc.
Hey, Damian.
Oh, Tyler, I'll be right with you as soon as I sign these requisitions.
Listen, I've got to go. We will keep in touch about this.
If she changes her mind, you call me.
Oh, you can count on that.
Oh, wait a minute, Miles. Why don't you come to lunch with us?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a luncheon engagement in a penthouse.
Oh, well, we can't really compete with that.
I'll get out of here right now. My sister will probably serve me gruel for being late.
Take care, Doc.
See you guys.
You all set?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. I'm ready.
Actually, Chief, I'm really glad that the doc couldn't make it to lunch. See, the reason I asked you was because I thought it was about time that I told you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but.
Valerie. Damn. You scared me half to death.
Well, you scared me half to death the other night, Clifford.
Clifford, something tells me our relationship has deteriorated in the past 2 days. You got me mixed up with the wrong guy. What'd I do?
You left that teddy bear on my doorstep, that's what.
Well, I had a choice between that teddy bear or a stuffed giraffe. Did I make the wrong choice?
Cliff, I thought you were a prowler.
I'm sorry. Look, I came and I went on tippy-toe. I didn't want to scare you, really.
Well, you know, I have an awful lot on my mind, and I don't need false alarms like that.
Well, it was just when I was over your apartment, you said how lonely you were, how you didn't like to be alone in that big place, and, well, on the way home, I passed this all-night teddy bear stand, you see, and I thought one of those cute little fellas keeping you company might make you feel better.
I'm sure your intentions were good, but...
Well, my intentions were great. First of all, I had to ransom him away from his captors, and then we stole away off into the night, and of course, I had to fix him up with an adorable name.
Oh, yes, Cliff?
Yes, me and that bear have a lot in common.
You both have beady little eyes.
Ha, ha, ha. No, women find both of us cute and cuddly. You ought to check it out sometime.
Is that a fact?
Yes, it is. Well, did you take Cliff the bear to bed?
No, actually, he's decorating my chair.
Your chair? How could you do that, Valerie? How could you make that cute, cuddly bear spend the entire night sitting up? I report you to the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Stuffed Animals.
Don't get carried away, Cliff.
Hey,
I'm really not in the mood.
As your legal counsel, I should advise you that you can be held responsible for all the chiropractic bills that bear incurs, you know. I mean, couldn't you hear him in the middle of the night crying out, "Oh, Valerie, my back, my back"?
No, I didn't hear him call for a doctor at all. Really, I think he's just fine.
No wonder my back is stiff. I can sleep sitting up. It's a good thing I got him some presents, or else he would never talk to you again.
What?
That's just in case he goes out in the rain, he won't catch cold.
Oh, Cliff.
I got the receipt if they don't fit. And here, this is because I'm sure when he grows up, he's going to want to play for the Bears.
Oh, you are too much. Oh, Cliff, I'm sorry, but I really don't have time for any nonsense. I have a lot to do today.
Well, hey, if we hurry, we can beat the rush to lunch. Come on, let's go.
Cliff, you are eating alone. I am very busy.
Maybe I ought to get a teddy bear for myself, huh? Hey, you don't have any more sessions this afternoon?
Well, just what do you think you're doing?
Looking at your appointment book. Look, it's tomorrow afternoon you got all the sessions.
Cliff, whatever is in this book is none of your business. How am I expected to get any work done? You pop in on me. Kelly pops in on me. Carlos sends me to lunch with Mrs. Whitney. I can't... Hi. Hi, Mrs. Whitney.
Oh, what a surprise. Hi, Cliff.
Well, hello, Raven. The pleasure's all yours, I'm sure.
Is there anything I can do for you?
Well, I was in the neighborhood, and I wondered if you would go out to lunch with me if you're not busy.
Sure. Why not?
Like it's been ages since I've been together with my husband.
Well, it's only temporary. And everything that I've heard suggests that it won't go on much longer.
Why do you say that? Because Dr. Bryson's done such a good job of covering up his tracks?
Well, it just seems that there's not much more evidence to be gathered over there anyway, and the minute that Draper resigns himself to that fact, he'll be hopping on the first Monticello-bound plane.
Maybe.
I'll tell you, closing up shop in Europe right now is going to be very difficult for Draper.
Now, why do you say that?
Well, because he's the kind of a guy who, when he does a job, he wants to do it 110%. He's not going to want to quit until he finishes what he set out to do.
Exactly why I have come to a decision.
Oh, I have a feeling I know what's coming.
Draper is not going to have to worry about coming back to Monticello because I have decided to pack not only my bags, but Julia's, and we are going to join Draper in Europe.
April, you can't do that.
Why not?
Because you are much too far along. Now, Miles, tell her that.
I can't give her any kind of advice. I'm her brother. I'm not her obstetrician.
And it is my OB who said it is precisely because I am so far along that I can travel. There's no risk to the pregnancy anymore.
Well, it just seems like you're taking an awfully big chance.
Nicole, I am healthy, my baby is healthy, and once I am with my husband, I will be not only healthy, but happy. And what better condition could a mother to be hope for?
Well, you could be a little...
I have made up my mind. I miss my husband too much. It's just something that I have to do.
Well, I must admit, if Miles was the one in Europe, I'd be the first one making sure my passport was valid.
Don't encourage her.
You don't like the idea?
No, it isn't that. It's just that... I'm going to be a little disappointed. I have to be thousands and thousands of miles away from my new little nephew or niece when he gets born. But you got my blessing.
I thought about that. And, well, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I think it'd be kind of neat for Julia to have a little baby brother or sister with an accent, huh?
Well, I got news for you. All babies gurgle in the same language.
Oh?
Yes.
Okay, April, now that you've made this decision, you must have 1,000 loose ends to tie up.
Not really. Just this apartment, really.
Yeah, what are you going to do with it?
Well, I certainly don't want to sell it, and I don't know, I think it'd be more trouble than it's worth to close it up, so I guess that's where I came up with my other brilliant idea.
And that is what?
Would you two consider moving in?
Modest beginnings. I don't know whether I could get used to living in a penthouse like you have.
Come on. Look, that house over there is too cramped for all of you. Move in here while you're looking for another place. Plenty of room for the two of you, for Adam, for Jody.
To say nothing of the dog.
You've got to say yes. It'd make me feel a lot better about leaving.
Well, it certainly is a magnificent apartment.
Oh, let's see. It's got 3 bedrooms, a study, a maid's room.
And a kennel would be perfect.
It is perfect, and it's also a perfect location. Look, you won't even have to drive to work. You could walk to the office. And Nicole, you'd be 10 minutes by car away from the station.
That is a point, Miles. I'd be able to get home a lot easier between broadcasts to be with you and Adam.
I must say, April, you're dangling an awfully attractive carrot in front of our noses.
Well, is it yes? Will you take it over?
Why'd I let my wife make the decision?
Look at her face.
Well, the specialties today are Sid's Texas chili, seafood salad with vinaigrette dressing, and linguine with a clam sauce.
Well, that's quite a variety, Sid.
Oh, well, spice of life, they say. Do you know what you want, or do you want me to come back in a few minutes?
I think I'll just have a turkey sandwich on whole wheat with lettuce and tomato, thank you.
Okay.
I think I'll have the seafood salad.
Well, now that's a good choice. That'll just take a couple of minutes.
What made you finally decide now that it was time for us to talk?
Well, I guess it just wore me down, Chief.
I don't buy that. Come on.
How about it? You ready to hear about the life and times of Damian Tyler Wilcox or not?
Well, I've already heard some bits and pieces, and I think I managed to put some of the rest of it together myself.
I'd only expect that, considering your profession.
I know your dad, the late Fowler Wilcox, was very high up in the State Department when he found himself a few years ago embroiled in a very sticky situation.
That's true. There were allegations. My father had a top security clearance. The State Department gave him some classified documents to keep under his charge. One day they disappeared.
You couldn't account for them?
No, he couldn't. And that's when the rumors started. People were saying that my father was heavily in debt and that he intended to sell those documents overseas. Well, part of the rumor was true. My father wasn't dead. My mother suffered a very long and serious illness. The medical expenses were astronomical. My father borrowed heavily. My mother died anyway. My father was terribly shaken. Somehow he just never got over the loss. And then when the documents disappeared and he was accused, I think it was just too much for him. Chief, I loved my father very much. As you know, I feel very strongly about what happened to him. I also feel very strongly about a man named Jefferson Brown.
Who was this?
He was my father's executive assistant, you might say. He was his protege.
Where does he fit into all this?
He fits in perfectly. He fits in too damn perfectly.
Wait a minute, are you saying that this guy was somehow...
I think that Jefferson Brown knew a hell of a lot more about what happened to those documents than my father did.
Wasn't he ever interrogated?
Of course he was. I wanted to talk to him myself. Unfortunately, he went on a vacation to Switzerland and was killed in a plane wreck.
Hi. I'll be back to take your order in just a minute.
Okay. So here we are. Yes, here we are. Our last conversation here ended a bit abruptly. It was very kind of you to give me a second chance. Raven, I'd like to set the record straight. About what? About your concerns regarding my relationship with your husband. Well, you were a face in my husband's past, and a very pretty one. We were little more than casual acquaintances. I can assure you, you have nothing to worry about. I mean, I am no femme fatale, and I certainly have no designs on your husband. If you say so, I believe you. The case is closed. Fine with me. I mean, it really does seem sort of silly for you to dislike me for a reason that doesn't even exist. Hey, I didn't come here to talk about Guy anyway. Actually, I'm interested in you because of something April Scott told me. What was that? Well, she said that you had a very unique experience a few summers ago in your father's clinic, and I found it fascinating. I'm a romantic, and it sounded very romantic. I became very friendly with one of my father's patients. He was an Army officer who was having a complete facial reconstruction. She told me his name, but I don't remember. Diedrichson. Lieutenant Jim Diedrichson. Right. So what happened to him? Well, that's a good question. I had to go back to school, and he was released from the clinic, and I never saw him again. So you never actually saw what he looked like? He was always swathed in bandages. I wouldn't recognize him if I passed him on the street. Except, of course, if he told me his name. Did you sleep with him? You really have a one-track mind. Well, I mean, we're having girl talk. What harm is it telling me? Raven, last time we were here, you asked me if I slept with your husband. And now you want to know if I've had an affair with a man you don't even know. Oh, I'm curious. It's part of my charm. Well, I'm sorry. That kind of charm just escapes me. And as a matter of fact, I've lost my appetite, so please excuse me.
What happened to Miss Bryce? Did she forget she had something to do at the photo shop?
I guess something like that. Looks like it's going to be lunch. The usual salad. Could you please deliver it over there, because I am going to dine at that table. Don't shoot. It's only me.
Well, look who's here.
Hello, Derek.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. You certainly look beautiful today.
Thank you. I hate to interrupt any high-level police discussion that may be going on here, but I am having a little bite to eat and I'm alone, so could I join you?
I don't think that'd be a good idea.
I promise I'll be quiet. I won't even chew loudly.
Now, look, like you say, we are in the middle of a police discussion, okay?
Have a nice day.
Mrs. Whitney?
Oh, forget about the salad. It looks like it's going to be lunch for none.
Yes, I know she's interesting, but I'm still interested in what you were going to tell me.
Actually, I was just going to say something about Raven Whitney.
I already know more about that woman than I care to.
Chief, this is business. The reason I was interested in Martine Duval and that I'm interested in Raven Whitney is because they were both associated with the same man.
Schuyler Whitney?
Precisely.
Why are you interested in him?
Sky Whitney happened to be in Switzerland the same time as Jefferson Brown. In fact, they were both on that same plane that crashed in the Alps.
Well,
Sky Whitney was the only one who survived. Frankly, Chief, I think Jeff Brown may have survived as well.